Okay, so this is the continuation, the part two of the introduction to human development. So let us talk about the significant facts about development. Okay, so the first one is early foundations are critical. This is true, and according to White, okay, uh, the foundations actually laid during the first 2 years of life, and this is considered to be the most critical. According to him, the origins of human competence are to be found in critical period of time between 8 and 18 months. Okay? And language acquisition and then early learning development are also very important factors in the early foundations of the life of an individual. Next, we have development follows a definite and predictable pattern. Okay, so there are actually orderly patterns of physical, motor, speech, and intellectual development. Let's say, for example, the pattern of physical and motor development illustrates the loss of developmental direction. So this is known as the Cephalocodol Law. Okay, so it maintains that the development spreads over the body from the head to foot. Okay, and in the other hand, we have proximodistal law. Okay, so this one says that the development spreads outside, okay, or outward from the central axis of the body to our extremities. Okay. Third one, all individuals are different. All right. So all people are biologically and genetically different from one another. We all know that. Even identical twins. Okay. And since all individuals are different, so there are no two people that can be expected to react in the same manner to the same environmental stimuli. Okay. The fourth one is each phase of development has a characteristic pattern of behavior. And these patterns are actually marked by periods of equilibrium. Okay, so when individuals adapt easily to environmental demands, okay, so the result is they make good personal and social adjustment. And let's say, for example, in period of disequilibrium, okay, so when they take experience in the difficulties in adaptation, so the result is they make poor personal and social adjustment. Okay. All right. So the next one is okay. So the fifth one is each phase of development has a hazard. Okay, this is true. Even evidences show that each period in a lifespan has associated with a certain developmental hazard, whether they are physical, psychological, or environmental in origin. And these are inevitable, okay? And it might also involve adjustment problems. Okay, so the next one we have development is aided by stimulation. Okay, so even though most development occur as a result of maturation and environmental experiences, okay, much can be done to aid the development by stimulating development through directly encouraging the individual, okay, to use an ability which is in the process of developing. Especially if you have noticed that, let's say, for example, a child is delayed in this kind of aspect. Okay, so it is your role, let's say, for example, as a parent or as a family member, to stimulate the learning development of your child. Next, there is social expectation for every stage of development. So even every cultural group expect its members to master certain essential skills and acquire approved patterns of behavior at various age during a lifespan. Okay, so these are known as the developmental task. These are actually the tasks which arise at about a certain period in the life of the individual. So the successful achievement of which leads to happiness and to success with later tasks, and failure leads to unhappiness and difficulty with the later task. Okay. And lastly, we have there are traditional beliefs about people of all ages. Okay, so these beliefs are about physical and psychosocial characteristics could really affect the judgment of others as well as their self-evaluation. Okay, let's say for example, in the Western culture, so stereotyping and practices which relates to old age can actually lead to some unfavorable treatment of people in the latter years of their lives. Here in the Philippines, however, because of our close-knit culture, old people are still being taken care of by the children, by their children, no matter how busy the latter are. So they are still respected and cared for. Acceptance of these stereotypes actually by those who are growing old is responsible for unhappiness or happiness during old age, and it is an important factor in physical and mental decline of a person. Okay, so we have here the table of the stages in lifespan development. So the first stage is the prenatal stage, which means conception to birth. Then we have infancy. So this is from birth at full term to about 18 months. Okay, next is early childhood, about 18 months to about 6 years. Middle childhood, about 6 years to 11 years. Okay, and adolescence, about 11 years to about 20 years. So most probably, majority are you are in this period in adolescence or in early adulthood. Okay, even I myself belong to the early adulthood. So this is about 20 years old to about 40 years old. Middle adulthood about 40 years to 65, and late adulthood is 65 years and older. Okay, so I mentioned to you a while ago the developmental task. So this is Havighurst's developmental task. This is what you expect for them to learn, okay, in the age range that is being given. Okay, so for infancy and early childhood, that would be 0 to 5 years old. They are expected to learn to walk, use the toilet, to talk, and to form a relationship with others. Okay, in the middle childhood rather, so that was 6 to 12 years old. Okay, so they will learn school related skills such as reading. So this is actually the elementary years, and they also learn about conscience and values, and they learn to be independent. For adolescents, 13 to 17 years old, okay, so a person must establish emotional independence, okay, learn skills needed for productive occupation, achieve gender-based social roles, establish mature relationship with peers. Okay, this is actually the start of relationship between same sex and opposite sex. Okay, early adulthood, 18 to 35 years old. So this is the time when you choose a life partner, you get married, you establish a family, take care of a home, and establish your career. In the middle age, 30 to 60 years old. So this is when to maintain a standard living, perform civic and social responsibilities, maintain a relationship with spouse, adjust to physiological changes. And lastly, we have the later maturity over 60 years old. This is the time when you adjust to deteriorating health, adjust to retirement, meet social and civil obligations, and adjust to loss of spouse. Okay, so that's all. Thank you, and have a nice day, everyone. By the way, if you have any questions, you can send me an email to psicologista.files@gmail.com.